Nightly Musers, followers of the pod, faithful few and hopeful many, this is Anchor by Spotify. If you haven't heard about it, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. It's the very platform that allows me to give you what I give you on the nightly. So let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And it gives you the ability to distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and so much more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally FREE free. So here's where you come in. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. That is ANCHOR.fm to get started. Thank you very much. Peace. Y'all, I figured it out. Welcome to the Nightly Muse. This is your host, Tinayeshe. First of all, I don't know if you can hear it. You hear that little clack clack? It's my beads. I have beads in my hair. It's kind of fantastic. But anyway, what I wanted to say was I figured it out. Not that this is a grand revelation of sorts, but more a doubling down on a revelation that I already had. Man, I'm going to be the biggest softie on the planet. I think I cry more in animated movies than I do in any other form of like content or entertainment. Like, granted, I'm a sucker for any type of good feel-good movie, but I was watching Sing with the sisters. Sing 1. We'll watch Sing 2 later because they're too old for a movie marathon. And it's Sunday night and the work day starts tomorrow. It makes sense. Whatever. But I really I was a mess. My sisters and I'm sitting on one side of the couch, Dee's on the other, and then Ray's in the love seat, I think is what that's called. Just got out of college and getting into the world of furniture. Not really, because haven't had to buy any yet for the most part. But we're watching this movie, and at the end of the movie, when all of the performances start happening, obviously the plot has built it up so that I'm a little more emotionally invested in the characters. But it's an animated movie about singing animals, okay? They're like, it doesn't get much sappier than that. But anyway, Ray's laughing, Dee is, having a good old time engaging with the content. And I'm over here, like, stuffing my head into my sweatshirt because I'm a mess. I am crying. I am in tears. I am out here sniffing, partly because I'm not feeling so great, but mostly because I'm just out here a few high notes away from boo-hooing. Tori Kelly got me. Everybody else in the film got me. Great movie, Illumination. Great movie. I can't remember, one of my friends was saying that Illumination was overrated, and absolutely not. It was fabulous. And I said to my sister, I was like, yo, I'm gonna be the softest man on the planet. She was like, why do you say that? I'm like, yo, because I'm really out here in tears with this movie. We're having a good time and I'm over here a mess. I just loved it. It was a great film. I love plots that just redeem. A redemptive plot, a really good redemptive plot that isn't forced and just doesn't have to be super crazy. Like I said, it doesn't need to be a crazy plot that gets me all wrapped up in my feels. They were just, I'm not gonna spoil it, but it's just a beautiful, beautiful feel-good movie. And those moments make me extremely concerned for my future as a father one day. I'm gonna be crying all the time. All the time. Like, I'm gonna see my baby do something. She walked. She said, "Daddy," for the first. She said, "Bye" on the first day of school. Oh my God, baby, I can't handle it. I'm gonna be a mess all the time. Be regular things like, I don't know. The first time she gets in trouble, "I'm sorry, Daddy. I'm sorry too, girl. I'm sorry. Why are you making me do this to you?" I'm a softie. And it'll be the happy stuff too. Like, I'll probably cry when my daughter or son makes their first jump shot. Like, I'm very, very sappy. I also I love my sisters, man. I was telling my oldest on the way out, my oldest sister, my eldest, the elder statesman, the boss, the captain, the supreme leader of sorts. My favorite thing currently about the squadron, we don't really have a name. Well, in our group text, it's just fam. And we in another one, we're called the Chipmunks. But my favorite thing about my fellow chipmunks is we don't let too much time go before hangouts. Similarly to me and my mom, I feel like my mom was like, "Hey, it's been 2 days. Where you at, boy?" And she'll always call, which is great. Sometimes I call. She definitely calls more. I gotta work on that. But oh Lord, I think I told you about this How I Met Your Mother episode. The plot was Robin in this episode. I think the episode was called But anyway, she gets on this news thing and she's trying to be a famous news anchor in the show. She finally gets the big break and it's like zombie hours or whatever, and she gets tons of viewings. But what was really going on was that the college students that were watching had a drinking game where every time she said "but they would drink, so they get plastered. And one night Ted and Barney she caught on to it and she just she got them pissed drunk. And anyway, I've noticed that I also say but I didn't notice it before. And so I'm like, is this a consequence of the show, or is this actually a filler word that I used to say all the time that I now say, I don't know. I'm just more aware of it, or if it was placebo effect, I'm not sure. But anyway, I psyched myself out and distracted myself from the thing I was gonna say to y'all. I love the fact that it's hard to say that we prioritize spending time with each other. Obviously we do, or else I wouldn't say what I just said. But it's really just a matter of we don't. I was on the phone with Ray the other day and I was talking about how I hadn't seen Sing 1, and it was cool. I was like, "You want to watch it Sunday?" And she was like, "All right, maybe." And then I texted her Saturday night and I was like, "Well, let me know because I gotta make a plan." And she's like, "Okay, we'll see you at 6." And I was like, "Great." And that was that. It's very simple, and it's just fun. I'm just very thankful for that. I know not every sibling relationship plays out. I've seen that firsthand. It's not always how it goes. And again, just reminded of the pact that we made years ago of not letting the little things get between us, not letting time just do what time does, or distance just do what distance does. Who knows where life is going to take us? Who knows where we will go? But if they're 1,000 miles away, best believe I'm gonna buy a ticket to visit them, or do a road trip to visit them every so often. Like, that's just what it is. I'm very thankful that we all live in the same city, or at least within 30 minutes of each other, and they live together, so it's an easy thing to consolidate a trip to see them both, because they're roommates. But it's a huge blessing to be able to know that, like, if I was in a pinch, I, for the most part, can see them anytime. And we make it happen, and it makes my heart sing. I love my sisters a lot, and sometimes you have a good day. Cap off a good day with your favorite people in the world, and that's exactly what happened. We can laugh and like annoy each other or have tense conversation. Like, we just think, as I've grown up, I've kind of caught up now, because they're 7 and 10 years older than me, and so I'm finally like in the realm of adulthood with them, and our conversations have changed. I've obviously changed. I'm a bit more mature, and I'm at the very least the age that I used to act. Like, I always presented more mature than my age, but situation. But now I'm like actually that age, so it's great. And so there's still, I think, a learning curve of like, is it curb or curve? I have no idea. I've always kind of said both. The learning process of, like, your brother's actually a grown man now is always fun to experience. And also just like we get to be there for each other in ways that we may or may not have been able to before. Also, we're all experiencing adulthood now, and I get to talk about things that I'm experiencing for the first time that they've walked through, and vice versa. And so it's a cool experience, and I really love it. I said this before when in my Lady Loves episode. I think that was episode 11, which is crazy that I can remember that. And I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. I could talk about them for hours, because they are the two of the 3 best women I've ever been around, and it's a special thing to be able to know that and actually mean it when you say it. And so, yeah, other updates from today. I played basketball, and I only won 1 game, and we played like 7. It was so frustrating. Oh, it was so frustrating. I'm very competitive, and I've noticed when I was a kid, it wasn't that I wasn't competitive. I just I mentioned this to a friend today as we were playing. I didn't fully know how to manipulate or use my body until I started playing football. And even then, it was still something I was trying to figure out. But football was the only place where I didn't necessarily have to. It wasn't that hard to figure out how to, like, throw people around. That was the purpose. Basketball is a little different. There's finesse and there's aggression, but there's also a foul count. So if you can foul out of the game, like, there's a bit of finesse and caution that's required. But still the same animal, right? Different beast, but the same animal. Or is it different animal, but the same beast? I can't remember what the Kobe Bryant commercial was. Rest in power. Boy, love that man. My favorite basketball player of all time, aside from Steph. Say that like I've met him, but he's actually the one thing I'm sad about is that I never got to see him play. But anyway, I realized there were two things that hadn't necessarily like converged at the same time that would have benefited my athletic career. Yes, I was competitive. Yes, I figured out how to use my body in other sports, but that little, like, I felt like at the time, which again, this is why I love coaching, is that you've got to learn how to tap into individuals, not the same way. It's not like there's a formula for every kid. There are certain things that are going to be across the board, obviously, but like effort, the intangibles, etc. But how you get somebody to a certain point, motivation, etc. Like, there are ways, I said etc. really weird, etc. You've got to treat them as a kid-to-kid basis because we are different. We are not the same. And that's an important thing to know. And I felt like for the most part, as a kid, they'd always be like, Kennedy, if you just had a little bit of a-hole in you. And it's like, or just figure out how to articulate what you're trying to say without telling a kid who doesn't want to be an a-hole to be an a-hole, you know? Like, that can't be the solution. Obviously, learn a different vocabulary. Also, I was a kid and I didn't get it. But for the first time, I was playing with somebody else who is like big dude, powerful, but like doesn't fully get it because basketball isn't their first sport. And I'm like, oh, that's what my coaches meant when they said if you had a little a-hole in you. It's that knowing it's one thing to have a mismatch. It's another thing to have a mismatch and know that you have a mismatch. You play differently. You have a different swagger about you. You have a different bravado, gravitas, even. Like, you are trying to dominate. And it's not even trying, you are just going to. And you go into it with that mindset. And I think if somebody were just to articulate like, hey dude, you're bigger and stronger than the average person. And bigger than, stronger than most above average people. Use it. That would have been like, oh, I'm not utilizing what I have. And anyway, all that to be said, it was fun, and I probably annoyed people because I'm like, dude, just like be strong. You don't even have to be strong. You're taller than everyone. You're bigger than everyone. Just be you. But it's fun learning, oh, like this is what that meant. All those years ago, I wish I had somebody who could just say that to me the way that I needed to hear it for it to click. But also, you know, I think hindsight's 20/20, and I'm also I'm thankful for, I think some of the, you know, those who can't, those who can't play, teach, or those who can't do whatever. It's like, in some ways, not a living vicariously through my athletes, but being able to help them achieve things that I wasn't able to achieve is so much more gratifying than if I would have done it myself. Granted, I'm sure my pockets would not feel the same way about it, but there is something beautiful about knowing that, like, you can help flip the switch that wasn't able to be flipped for you. And it's fun to be a part of that process. Sometimes I have to watch my competitive aggression, but for the most part, it's a fun experience. And I have to remember sometimes, Kennedy, you're not playing competitive basketball anymore. You are not an athlete. You are just here to have fun. Yes, winning is also a nice bonus. But if you only win one, or if you go for Oh, for there's always next week. Next week, I might even get to play basketball twice. Twice in 1 week. Oh my gosh. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Well, I've successfully talked about two very different things in one episode. But here I am. Here I go. Signing off. Shout out Lowfly. This is the Nightly Muse and the Nightly Muse. Not the Muse. The Nightly Muse, and I am your host, Tinayeshe. Peace, Musers. Peace.